Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here I have a great article for you guys from Bloomberg. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So as we head into the second quarter earnings call for T-Mobile that's taking place July 27th, I wanted to share with you guys a article from earlier in the year. So this is right around T-Mobile's Q1 earnings, and I wanted to tie that into today's video. So as you can see by the title, T-Mobile tops profit estimates, sees 75% free cash flow gain. 2023 wireless subscriber forecast, Wall Street estimates. T-Mobile is not seeing a slowdown in consumer spending trends. So they took that momentum into the second quarter, right? They currently have a free cash flow of $8.4 billion. They are guiding to be at a $13.1 billion free cash flow by the end of the year. So a higher, that will be the highest increase that you will see out of any carrier free cash flow from going from 8 to 13.1 billion. So that's a pretty steep increase. Now that is just showing how healthy T-Mobile's business is, right? There's certain segments that T-Mobile still has a ton of upside, like enterprise, fixed wireless access, rural. So they can grow that business. I mean, they have untapped potential on those business fronts, right? Small business, they're still growing. Big enterprise, they're still growing. They still have government agencies to go after, and small market rural areas. So they're continuing to grow both the network and the retail pops. So I kind of wanted to speak on that some more because people seem a bit confused about that as well. So there are going to be areas right now in 2023 and previously 2022 as well that had T-Mobile service but no retail location. So that's another growth area for T-Mobile as well, is adding retail locations to the areas that they have service in. That gets customers or consumers more confident that T-Mobile has service there. If they don't see any retail locations, a lot of people will think that T-Mobile just doesn't exist there, when in reality, in some of those areas, they do. So that's another growth vector, if you will, that T-Mobile can still expand into. A lot of those areas that T-Mobile is now getting to with retail, Verizon and AT&T already had retail. They've already been present in those areas. They've already taken share. So now T-Mobile comes in with retail and network, and they take share. And it's working, as you can see, right? The numbers are there. It's not just blowing smoke. The numbers are there. They had a 75% free cash flow gain. If they continue that trajectory through the rest of the year, they will have the highest free cash flow increase in 2023 against its competitors. That's a good sign. That's a good, healthy sign for T-Mobile. And they're doing that still by having the smaller network, smaller retail footprint. You got to keep that in mind. They're attacking this, behemoth of a wireless business in AT&T and Verizon, and they're still doing it with being the smaller player, or as they call it, the insurgent. They're punching above their weight still. With all the success that they've had, with all the free cash flow gains, with all the subscriber forecasting growth, the guidance, they are still punching above their weight. Like I said, and it's a fact, they still have less retail pops that they cover compared to the competition. So there are still small markets in rural areas where T-Mobile has no retail that they compete with against Verizon and AT&T. There are going to be markets that T-Mobile literally has no coverage in still in 2023. Just putting out the facts. It's not going to take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Some of you will mention it in the comment section. T-Mobile still, in some of your areas, T-Mobile, that even if they have coverage, it's still weaker. It's still congested. T-Mobile knows that too. But what they're putting forth, the fight that they're putting forth, is the strategy works. They win. Even with, like I said, the smaller network, they still lack coverage in some of the bigger stadiums. They still lack coverage overall. but yet they still win. They still manage to win. They execute their strategy, and as they gain retail pops, as they gain coverage pops, it's going to be a scary sight for Verizon and AT&T. That's always been a big question for a lot of people. You know, what if T-Mobile actually gained the coverage parity in both network and retail? What would that mean for Verizon and AT&T? And I think now we're going to start seeing that each and every quarter, this year, next year, the year after. We're going to start seeing T-Mobile inch closer and closer and closer to that parity happening. I know they publicly say that they've reached network parity or whatever, coverage parity, but again, that's just them marketing, blowing smoke. It's not a fact, right? That hasn't happened yet, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that in real life experiences from you guys in the comments saying, hey, look, T-Mobile lacks coverage here. They roam here. We see that on the map. We see it on the crowdsourced maps. But, you know, we could potentially see a day in the future where T-Mobile really has scaled the network to really compete against Verizon and AT&T. And I say now that's happening now, but I still say that's still scratching the surface. It's just still very early on. A lot of these markets that they're bringing retail now, they've had network there for some time. So that helps, right? That's the winning play, as T-Mobile calls it, right? License to win, license to play. That's what they're getting to now. But there's many areas out there where they're still severely behind, right? So first they get there with network, then retail will come after. But that's going to take some time. But as they get there, right, these free cash flow gains that we're seeing should increase even more. And then potentially in the future, we could see a T-Mobile that has, you know, even a more increased pricing that they do now. Maybe at some point they charge more than Verizon and AT&T. But again, that type of competition could also, keep in mind, could also force Verizon and AT&T to adjust, right? If you've ever wanted to see them at a cheaper cost, offer more, change their policies, you know, now is really the time to look forward to that. I know the Un-carrier existed, but T-Mobile at that time, even under John, really didn't have the scale of network to really have Verizon and AT&T concerned. And I know they were losing share during that time, but they really didn't react to it in that sense. If you guys, they did change to unlimited. They did change a few things here and there, but they never really attacked T-Mobile. They never really okay, we're going to drop pricing now. We're going to go against T-Mobile. You know, now we're starting to see that. They're starting to call them out a little bit. And I think once T-Mobile really gains that scale, I think they're going to start going after them more and more and more. And that's when we could see a price drop, a significant price drop, a change in policies like, you know, AT&T moving away from 36 months on the phone financing, a big change of leadership, you know, big shakeups, just due to competing and fighting back against T-Mobile. And I think, you know, we're very close to that potentially happening. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.